My name is Lerato. I am from the West Rand, and I consider myself a victim of human trafficking or abduction. It was in 2017, December, where my sister and I took a trip to Joburg to come and do some December shopping for her wedding, which was due to be set on Sunday of that Friday. And when we got here, it was around the AMs, I think 9 a.m. and we proceeded to do our shopping. So we were walking down to your small streets and all of those shops to buy traditional clothing. And we walked from shop to shop, block to block, and we were not minding what was happening on that day. I think because of the vibe, the festive feel, it was busy. People were working into trains, people were working into buses, people were traveling in and out of Joburg. So it got to a point where we decided to take a break and have lunch at one of the famous restaurants in South Africa. I think that's where a lot of things took a turn.
Most of these victims come from poverty-stricken backgrounds, and they are very vulnerable or desperate at times to find jobs. They find themselves being lured into shady buildings where a lot of these crimes happen. To a lot of victims, they are scammed to come to a certain location, others not fully aware of their surrounding. Another strategy used was the one that was used on Lerato and her sister Dineo, where they were softened and manipulated by enforcing fear in order for them to cooperate and walk out of the restaurant. Traffickers force labor in domestic services, force victims into sex trafficking and commercial activities. Syndicates often dominated by West African facilitators, trafficking in the commercial sex industry. To lesser extent, syndicates recruit South African women to Europe and Asia, where traffickers force commercial sex, domestic services, and drug smuggling.
And when we got there, I proceeded to go sit down, and my sister was taking her order. So the restaurant was shaped like an L-shaped thing. And while we were there, I went on to sit at the corner at the restaurant, and there were a few people sitting there having their lunch, and my sister was still taking the order. A while later, a very huge, masculine, dark-skinned man walked in the restaurant, and he came and sat next to the table that was next to me. And he claimed that he was using the Wi-Fi to respond to work emails. And I didn't understand what he was doing, but then he kept annoying me, and I didn't respond to most things that he was saying. But the surprising thing is that he couldn't speak isiZulu or anything. He just kept, he had this different accent. He kept talking isiZulu, but it wasn't clear. So a while later, the people who were seated there, who were having their lunch, opposite to the tables that we were, opposite to the tables that I was seated at, left, and then my sister came back with her order, and a few men started walking in. It was a few men, 2 or 3 men, who kept walking in one by one, and they sat in a very odd manner, in a very strategic manner, I would say. I don't remember the day quite well, but they sat at different tables, and the surprising thing is that they were all on their phones, and I didn't notice this. So while we were sitting there with my sister, we proceeded to have our lunch, but then immediately when she sat down, I think her instinct told her that something was wrong.